partnership with Fishers for this field day because people want to be excited about what you're doing on your land. So there's the local groups, the state or regional associations fill just an important role for keeping a pulse on what's really happening in your neighborhood. It can be legislation, it can be local promotions, it can be the technical resources and connecting the dots, and also networking. Minnesota Bison Association is just taking that, expanding it across the whole country, right?
So what I would encourage all you guys to do, because I'm not going to take up too much time up here because I'm more interested in what's out there, and I'm sure you guys are too. The NRCS is a government organization where you can actually come into our office, sit down and say, hey, I got this problem on this field, or I'm thinking about doing this, and we can actually sit down and talk to you about what's going on, and that's called Certified Technical Assistance. But we have a lot of different options that are available to you for helping to get cost share out. We're gonna go visit a part of that with Craig. He's actually enrolled in it. It's very different from the other stuff that we're doing because we worked on it to figure out how can we make this work within his context. Can we do that in a way where instead of looking at the yield, we can turn around and look at it as a profit per acre instead of bushels per acre? How can we make that work? Can we afford to take a decrease in how much we're earning to help our soil out and maybe have a grazing opportunity in the spring of the year or the fall of the year? It's an idea, it's a thought. That's why I love these things, because you get to see 1,001 different ideas that might work on your place or that might not, or that you might be able to modify in your place.
As far as like the farm, how we market, how we cash flow is direct marketing to consumers. And it's just to get more exposure. Like I had somebody yesterday that was just absolutely baffled that there's bison in Minnesota. They thought that they were only in Montana. There's always like a honeymoon phase. Things go really well and then things kind of dip off and then you kind of find that equilibrium. We're in a few different retailers now. Whereas in the past, I always tried avoiding wholesale as much as I could, but at some point you have to factor in how much time you're spending and the benefits of having somebody else just get the product out there.
Me being extroverted, I love it. It's good. Once you're there, it's fine. I don't know.
I'm the introvert, but I like talking about the farm. I'm not in it to push bison on everyone. I let them come to us a little more and like, oh, what is this? Oh, why is it good for you? So our philosophy with that is like take people with where they are and educate them on what they can do. If profitability and enjoyment align, then you should probably do more of that. We're able to do more of the strip grazing. There's roughly 20 animals in there. So when we set up our strips in there, we can go different directions. And right now, so like I touched the wire and it's showing me it's at 9 kilovolts, 9.2. And it'll show like your fault or what direction it is. But what I find most convenient about this is I hit this button, it says OFF. Now I touch that wire again. Oh! Just kidding. It's completely off. One of the issues that I have with keeping an older bull was just the handling of him. Like I had a gate thrown up against me last year, then I got a breather while he beat on the gate at the end of the alleyway for the next 45 minutes. He's going to be spreading parasites if we can't run him through and get him cleaned up. Ideally, if we keep him out there for say a 60-day cycle, that means we shrink longer calving window, and we shrink when we have to treat the cows in the spring. So I do a lot of bale grazing in the wintertime, and this year, for the most part, I roll bales out, but you can see where some of this accumulated. So this last winter I had to scrape and move snow, and so then I started getting some piles of accumulated hay, and one of the first steps of succession is the scab.
So what I'm seeing here, my question becomes, how are we managing this year to ensure we get the bonuses for next year?
This is a perfect balance of protein and energy. So the more you can maximize that they're just taking that top third, now that plant has more solar panels to regrow faster, and the roots aren't being shrunk either, because there's enough of the plant left that it's able to regrow faster. You give them a paddock and time how long until they pick their head up. They've already taken the best, and in 30 minutes they utilized 1,000 square feet. Well, now let's scale that for 1 day or 2 days or 3 days, and then that's going to be close to what you should have.
They're just simply trying to get the next bite because they know that you're going to get the next bite if I don't. So that if you ever do want to see the take half, leave half, that's how you get that. Get that stock density high, trigger that competition, and you'll see it.
By adding more animals, you can get more hoof action. From my experience, you can't like force them to eat something. Different pastures respond differently. There is much better ground here than at the ranch. The ranch is sandy, it takes longer to grow back, the animals adapt differently, and we're only a half hour apart.
The more cover we have on our soil, the lower that temperature is. So the lower your temperature, the more microbial activity. You guys have wallows out there. Let's say you planted a new pasture, you converted some crop ground, but if you did that, you have these rows that are sitting there. The best way to get stuff built is to cover that soil. That's the first thing you need to do. Folks are finding that instead of having that average of 2.5% of their body weight, some of these cows that are on these really intensive grazing systems, because it's so nutrient dense, they're only eating maybe 1.5% of their body weight. Now think of a bison. What eats more, a cow or a bison? The bison rumen actually holds on to forage 20% longer than a cow.
One of the big takeaways on my part was the species diversity that came about just because there was bison out there. And that's how the bison are reacting with the land, and the land is reacting to the animals. Our place is not to be like, oh, we need to do exactly what the cattle guys are doing and get to 600,000 pounds per acre. Our place is to look at the animal that we have and how it interacts, and now let's bridge the gap of the two.
Why are we increasing our animals? Sure, we have the grass, that's great, but do we have the market? When you do this kind of management, you have this holistic red line that you're trying to meet. You need to make sure you're not so far above that you're destroying it, but you're not so far below it that you're still destroying it, because now you're undergrazing your pastures. I always use big blue stem as an indicator of your pasture health. So like just looking at it, what I'm seeing here, I know that Craig isn't grazing in here hard during this time of year, and that he's stockpiling this because this is allowed to get seed and then regrow. Because the only way that that oxidized material, that big rank grass, is going to get anything is if you trample it down to the ground. Bison, they're more like elephants socially than cows. They will naturally form family groups. So like if you have a big enough herd, you'll tend to see these 20 hang out over here, these 10 over here, these 20 over here. In nature, the bulls typically hang out together. They hang out away from the cow herd, and they're typically held up by 1 or 2 patriarchal bulls. So they're going to be fighting the younger bulls constantly to get that pecking order. I would actually argue that by having a bunch of younger bulls, you're going to get more genetic diversity.
sun has the heat, it's pulling moisture, it's gonna pull it up, and that's where most of your soil life, your microbes that Patrick was talking about, are in the top 2 inches. In the irrigation world, they call it ET, evapotranspiration, and that's all water and nutrients that can be going away from where you want. As soon as that root gets down there, that root is feeding directly out of the line. It is being fed right there. The sun is not evaporating anything because the sun can't get to it. We can control our water, we can control our nutrients from an environmental standpoint. We don't have that runoff unless you happen to have a leak in the line and somebody leaves the fertilizer on. I can actually see the difference between the 2 food grades there on the right. The one is actually a little dark colored. The point is we've doubled production, and there's no reason that we can't double production with the water.
If you guys can take something from that to where you go back to your place, you're like, oh, we have that same issue. How can we help alleviate that? I'm hoping that you guys just start to think, not necessarily answer questions, because I firmly believe that as a consultant and now as a public servant, I don't have answers. My biggest thing that I do is I have experience that I can apply to an answer, but I have experience and I can help you guys with the questions you need to ask on how to solve that problem. You guys all have the solutions, I don't. So how can we solve that stuff with what you have within your context, and how can we help financially if you need that help? Feel free to come on into an office, put in an application, chat with folks, try and get the help that you guys need. But at the end of the day, you guys are the ones having to do the work. I can't go out and manage the farms that I have under contract. So the best I can do is teach you guys, coach you guys, and spread my experience out.